Master, I have bad news. The auras of many creatures reverberate throughout this temple. As a result, I can't isolate Zelda's aura. You will not be able to drowse or track her here. Given the situation, I suggest you look around to see where we should move next. That indeed. Hey everyone, and welcome back to welcome back to more The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Yes, Link looked down out of embarrassment because I'm feeling that same thing. Previously, we made our way to the first temple as we saved the last key quiz, and we were given the slingshot. We also went to Beetle's Air Shop and got ourselves the bug net and collected the first few bugs. This time, we've made our way to the dungeon, and as Fee just eloquently put it, unfortunately, she cannot track Zelda here. We're just gonna have to go off instinct and essentially explore every room by room as we go. This time, didn't I already do that? Anyway. So here we have another statue that looks similar to the bird ones. You can still save at them, but instead of going to the sky, you can go outside. This is interesting because, again, you can't go to the sky. It just helps you leave the dungeon. They are still worth checking out, and in case you're curious, they do appear on the map. They are still labeled bird statues, so you might as well go up to them so at least you can kind of see them. You cannot, of course, descend into these since you're in a building from the sky, but it is still worth collecting them so you can kind of know where they're at, especially if you need to stop all of a sudden. So this is the first dungeon in the game, the Skyview Temple. The Skyview Temple. One of these times I'll get it. I'll get used to it, I swear to you. And here we actually have a cobweb that you can see you can kind of walk through, and you'll have to break free because it slows you down. You can't really get through it. Let me... Oh, no. There we go. There we go. Ah, no. Getting caught. You can actually just break it with your sword, though, if you're good at the game like me, and this will allow you to get through without getting stuck. So dungeons are very interesting. They are, of course, but definitely one of the major staples of the Zelda series. They are a place where essentially there's, again, I know this is kind of common knowledge to a lot of people, but again, I'm trying to make sure everyone is able to kind of know what this stuff is, especially if they're new to it, are essentially a giant box full of exploration, enemies, and puzzles, which are a major part of the Zelda series. Something we kind of really haven't actually seen a bunch of up until now. Puzzle solving is a big part of Zelda. Whether you find them difficult or not, they are technically still puzzles. Also, right there, we happen to have another monster claw. This time I do want to press plus because we have two now. That's actually kind of nice. Before we get too in-depth to this dungeon, however, I actually am going to abandon it and leave it because, as it happens, as I mentioned last episode, we actually have enough of the items to upgrade our shield. So I'm going to go up to the sky, and I'm going to cut to, actually, I'm not going to cut, because I believe there's something that's going to happen as soon as we go to the sky first, before I cut. And then I'll cut to when I get to the blacksmith or upgrade guys area, because I need to go over there, and I assume you all don't want to see me fly over there, as I mentioned. But first, I believe, as soon as we got our loft twin here, yep, it's going to fade to white, because Master Link. When you hit that goddess cube with a Skyward Strike earlier, I was able to detect a resulting energy reaction above the clouds. The location I have marked on your map indicates a spot where I sensed an energy reaction. Yep, so as you can see, seemingly... Oh, I advise you to investigate the area around this location. So yeah, we're actually not going to do that on this trip up. You easily could. I just want to wait until after we clear the dungeon, just because, I don't know, it's a little bit of pacing, I guess. But you can go get those now, so that's what the goddess cubes do. They actually seemingly interact with something up in the sky, hence why they're called sky cubes, and hence why we saw that light come up. I guess maybe I'm not going to cut until we get there, because I am going to explain that. So yeah, let's dive down here, and again, you don't have to open your sailcloth, and we'll head in. So yeah, you don't have, again, if you don't have the materials for the first windshield, one, you definitely don't need it at this point, but if you wanted to grind for it, you could just go into the cave. It's what I recommend to do. Fight off the keys at the beginning and the choo-choo until you can get one of both of these, and then as I said, the Amber Relic, especially since now on this HD version at least, I know you can, these respawn after you change the load zone. Just go up to the sky at least once beforehand, get another one of these, or you can wait until you find another one naturally, of course, before you come over here to do this. I'll come over and talk to you. Hey, welcome to the scrap shop. I can use stuff to find the upgrade. Or you find upgrade your gear, make it even stronger. And your shield breaks, beating, no worries. I'll fix that too, as will be. Upgrade our gear, please. And while we're here, you're actually going to see, these are all items I can upgrade right now. Yep. We actually have a few new things to upgrade. That being our slingshot, as you can see here. Dusk Relic, something we haven't seen yet. Amber Relic, we have seen. Jelly Blob, we don't have 3. So we can't get this even if we wanted to. An excellent slingshot, able to scatter a single seed over a wide area. We can actually upgrade that, and we can upgrade our bug net to a bigger one. Increases the size of the net to catch more bugs. Tumbleweed, Ancient Flower, Evil Crystal. 3 things we have no way of obtaining or even really seen. Evil Crystal, I think you can probably have one, but these 2 we have no way of getting right now. It's going to be a long time till we upgrade that one. But this one we can upgrade, and you may be curious. Of course, as you see, strengthened wooden shield with improved durability, but you notice this one actually took a little bit of damage. If we pay to upgrade it, which takes a little bit of money and those resources, of course. Alright, you want to upgrade this? There's no going back, you hear? Go for it. Okay, you just wait right there. All done, here you go. You upgraded to a bandage shield. This shield is more durable than the standard wind shield. If you got anything else you want me to tinker with, you just let me know. Nope, got nothing else. Oh, I probably should look at the... whatever. Actually, no, I'm going to show that. I'm going to spam through this, but I want to show what the next upgrade will take, because I want to show it's going to be quite a while till we can afford to upgrade. Amber Relic, Monster Claw, Ornamental Skull. It's actually not all that bad, but we have not seen Tumbleweeds, and we're not going to see them for quite a while, just to warn you. So it's going to be a little bit till we are able to upgrade that again. But we do have an upgraded wooden shield, but as you saw... the shield actually gets repaired if it's upgraded. This goes for any of the shields. If you upgrade a shield, it's taken some damage, it will actually get fully repaired along with the upgrade. So you don't have to worry about spending money or using a potion on it. This is why I said earlier when I first took that one hit to the shield that you shouldn't worry too much about it, and if you have the stuff to upgrade it, then you definitely don't need to worry about it. Just make sure you upgrade it, of course, before it breaks. Now I'm going to actually cut until I get back to the temple and to the room we were at last time. See you guys in a moment. Okay, and we are back at the temple, now with a new shield equipped, making it so that we have, as you can probably see up already in the top left, we have a little bit more HP on our shield, which is nice. Now it can take more hits, and of course it got repaired since it did take 1 hit from an Octorok, I believe, earlier. So starting off, there's actually, it looks like some wooden paneling up here. We really can't do anything with that, so we're going to have to just kind of go past it. I already mentioned these cobwebs, and it being the first dungeon, there's a lot of things, and also the first, of course, Zelda game. I'm going to be playing this game acting like, you know, it's the first Zelda game, you know, the viewers watching, if you are familiar with it to begin with, right? Just so everyone can kind of follow along. Dungeons, as I kind of mentioned, are essentially gauntlets of all the game's mechanics being put to the test. The combat, the puzzle solving, everything like that. All of it kind of gets tested here, I should say. So here we have a great time to use the... Actually, wait, I should probably cut this first, make sure, because the sticks and stuff, if you don't cut the bottoms of them, you actually may not be able to walk past them at times. It's really weird. But anyway, this is a great time to use our slingshot, stun the Deku Baba there, which allows us to get up and slice at him so he doesn't attack us on our way up. That is a jelly blob right there. Dropped some Deku Babas too, so we actually got another one there since we were all out. That's actually kind of nice. You also could probably just try to shoot around the Deku Baba and hit this switch, but I want to, again, show that there are multiple ways in Zelda games, and not always, but there's usually multiple ways to solve certain puzzles, so sometimes you can come up with actually out-of-the-box ideas that may get you through a puzzle that could be challenging. Here, we have something you probably just saw. We have like an eye-looking thing, but over here we actually have a tablet. That's some Deku seeds. Check this out. Ye who descended from the sky, lend your ear to the wise voice of the servant who brought you to the firm soil. Yes, so they're immediately saying, oh, you need feed to help you here. And since she recommends it and the tablet says so, I'll show it here. Master Link, it is likely that I am the servant this tablet is referring to. To help you with your mission, the goddess gave me a massive quantity of knowledge about this land. Should you find yourself in need of answers, I hope you won't hesitate to call on me by pressing down on the directional pad. If you target an object with ZL and press down on the directional pad, I'll tell you all the information I know about it. Yep, and we can target this eye-looking thing, so we might as well just do it as an example. This magical sentry has a natural tendency to stare at the tip of pointed objects. That's what she... Okay, never mind. So yep, if you pull out your sword, you'll see the eye actually follows our sword. And if you do a 360 with motion with it, it confuses the eye enough or makes it dizzy and then it dies. Not quite sure what the logic is there, but that's how you can get past those little eye-looking gates. Not too difficult of a puzzle. You can see we are getting into some more dangerous territory. We have all these seeds here along with Deku Babas and stuff, so it's actually a bit more of a dangerous area, comparatively anyway. Just roll past there so we can skip combat, because we don't always really want to have a fight. There's a nice statue there. Up there are some seemingly little spider-looking guys. So if you have arachnophobia, I'm sorry, but get used to seeing bugs in Zelda games, because they're actually quite the common enemy type. Thankfully, though, they are very easy to take down. If you have a slingshot, you can, since they're tiny enough, you can just kind of shoot them and then they fall down. Go up here, we can break this wood here, and we actually have a shortcut back to where we were at earlier. So you can see we're already getting around a little bit easier. And it makes traversing this a lot nicer. And that's kind of nice about some dungeons. Not all dungeons give you that luxury. Take advantage of the fact that you can actually get around a little bit easier. You're having a different type of Bokoblin. This one is green, and he's using more, like, primal-looking gear. Push him off the ledge there, and he's dead. Oh, he dropped an ornamental skull. Nice. Not super tough of an enemy. I don't know if they have any different health or anything like that. I may put that in the video if I can find that out. What I do know about them is that they have different models, so I'd imagine that they are probably a little more difficult than the normal ones. Again, I'll kind of confirm. To my knowledge, though, there isn't anything much different with how I approach them comparatively. If we go down here under the bridge, because you may be stuck in this room for a little bit if you don't look around, you can actually find a crystal you can shoot with the slingshot that was given to us earlier. Allowing us to unlock that door there. I mentioned this before, but yeah, that sound is essentially saying, hey, you solved this little puzzle thing, or there's something unlocked. It's a very notorious and famous sound effect, not just in Zelda, but in gaming in general. So whenever you hear that, it means generally you solved something or something's been figured out. So now, we're going to actually go right, though, first, even without that, because there's something over there I want to do first. Again, with knowledge of, like, if you haven't played this game, of course, before, you can kind of go whatever way you want, and you can still solve stuff. I'm just going the way the game kind of, I think, leans you to, since you're not maybe not going to think to go under there immediately like I went to do. Going over here, we have another one of these. Something you can do is you can actually, oops, got a little too overzealous with that one, is you actually can roll through those cobwebs instead of having to stop and simply cut them apart, which is nice. These guys, by the way, these spiders, they can't attack you if you're climbing stuff, otherwise they won't normally get in your way. So as you can see, yep, we ran past it, and we only broke a little bit of it. Allows you to save some time. Here, we have even worse of an arachnophobia issue. This is the Skulltula. These are, again, another very famous and another enemy that you'll see a lot in Zelda games. You can kind of tell it's called Skulltula because its rear looks like a skull. Fighting them, they seem to be invulnerable if you hit them, but if you spin them around, you can actually see, you can expose this little purple orb thingy. That is actually their weak point. If you spin them around by hitting them from the side, then they'll start swinging back and forth. You can then do a stab motion, if you time it right, to stab that little purple spot and take them out. They're not super hard, but they can be a bit perplexing if you're new to the game. Again, Fee can be useful here. 2 doors lead to rooms left and right, but they will open when the gemstones are struck. One is above, one below. So yep, that is a little hint to the thing we just solved there, in the previous room of going down. There actually is another spot down here if you look. There's a little crawl space you can go into over here. And, speaking of switches, seems like we have another one. Again, if your slingshot is out of ammo at this point, breaking pots, killing those small spiders, all those have a chance of dropping these seeds, especially if you get lower with them. I think it has an increased chance, so make sure you rely on those if you need to. And as you can see, hitting that switch actually rose the water level, so if there's anything down there in that area... I sound like I said E-I-E-I-O or something. If you're stuck in that area, if there's any rupees or something, you may want to grab those before you come in here, because you may not be able to get them after. There's this weird-looking X, like, dirt mound here, and unfortunately we can't do anything with that yet, even though it does draw suspicion, so just keep in mind that it is here, because it may be useful later on. Ah, they missed it that time. You do have to get pretty close and be pretty precise with the roll, but it's not super terrible, and I recommend doing that because, again, it's kind of annoying sometimes to have to stop and just start swinging your sword. Also, I'm going to be quiet for a moment because I want you to hear the music here. Not just because I really think one of the most, I don't know if I'd say popular, but it's definitely something I know a lot of people like talk about in terms of is the soundtrack of its games. And I think that the Dungeon 1 theme is probably one of my favorites, actually. Sorry that wasn't a ton of time, I forgot there were enemies in here. But yeah, you kind of hopefully got a little bit of a snippet of it. And you probably are still going to hear it a little bit in the background, even if it's a little bit harder to hear. Those bushes can also drop the seeds, by the way. Here we have another Skulltula, and this one, since he's on the web, or it's on the web. As you can see, you can hit it around. It's not going to move. You're not going to be able to attack this one. But what we can do is you can see this little bit of a green vine here. You may recall shooting these way earlier on. You can try it down too, yep. From when we first got the slingshot, thanks to our friend the Elder, Cabbage Patch Man. Thanks to him, he gave us, of course, the slingshot, and he showed us you can break them. I can't believe I missed that. I am terrible. But that's a way of remembering. Because actually, as a kid, when I think I played this one, I think this room gave me a bit of trouble. Because I forgot that you could shoot... I cannot believe I missed that jump. I forgot you could shoot the vines to unravel them and use them as rope. For some reason, it kind of eluded me. Again, Zelda's one of those games that, if you're a kid, you're gonna have to wisen up a little bit when it comes to like some of the puzzles, especially for the older games. Like some of the newer titles, I mean, they have some complicated puzzles here and there, but they're a little bit more friendly with that stuff. So as you can see, once you get to the other side, now you can attack the Skulltula pretty much for free, and this allows you to very quickly make a little shortcut through here. So now we can get back this way if we want to. Over here is a very easy to miss switch. In fact, I know multiple people who've spent like 30 minutes at this part, not with the vines, but with this switch. Thankfully, once I figured out the vines as a kid, the switch came to me pretty fast, so I didn't have to worry too much about that. You can see we're raising the water level again, which harkens back to a older game in the series in terms of when it released. A certain dungeon where you rose water levels that people really didn't like. To me, anyway, it's what it reminds me of. So we're going to grab onto this one, swing over here, we barely made that. Oh, that is another Deku Baba. I don't remember the name. They actually have a name. I already forgot. I had to look it up. Ooh, I actually predicted that. Should have gone for the shield stun, but that's fine. As I was going to, not as I was saying, but as I was going to bring it up, and I kind of forgot to talk about this earlier, it's the fact that when you're coming into this dungeon, even if you're new to the game, and even though they recommend strongly to bring a potion, I almost just got this one because of the fact that, you know, we had max money at the time, or close to. I want to make sure I can hold it. You really do not need this potion. It is not that bad. Again, unless you're, like, very new to the series, this potion you could probably pass on and keep the empty bottle. Why would you want to not take, like, the empty bottle and put something in it? In a room with 2 glittering gemstones, you shall find a temple map. Gaze upon the map until your eyes find the X, for it is there that you must strike another gemstone to reveal a path. Interesting. But as I was saying, the reason you may want to actually keep an empty bottle. Earlier in the game, I mentioned a fairy that we came across that you could just walk into to heal a bunch of hearts. If you capture one with the bug net or in the bottle, it will actually stay in the bottle and you can bring it with you. But, it does, you should, oh my gosh, I'm sucking at articulating this, man. You can release that fairy at any time to fill in those 8 hearts. However, if you are to run out of health at any time with a fairy in the bottle in your inventory, it will revive you with 8 hearts. So it's essentially a 1-up or a way to come back from death. They are extremely good, and this is something that's consistent throughout the entire Zelda series when it comes to like fairies being like really good. Anyway, that aside, we have our first chest of the dungeon. You got the dungeon map. It shows the layout of the area and reveals unexplored rooms. And this is an item that, notoriously, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate the map. I didn't want the map. Why am I getting the map? It also reveals the locations of treasure chests, so be sure to take a look. Yep. So, maps are actually really good, especially if you, again, are new to Zelda, or if you struggle just finding your way around, but maps are really good. Master, I have information for you. Obtained a map for this area. You can view by pressing minus. The position of doors and their locks, as well as the position and status of treasure chests, can be confirmed on the map with marks, such as X. However, be aware that you will be unable to use beacons here due to the indoor nature of this environment. You have snow beacons, but something you wouldn't know unless you played the past Zelda games is actually the chests. So you may be like, oh, the chests, cool, right? Something you may not have known, again, especially considering that Zelda's a new series to you or whatever, is the fact that originally in the older Zelda games, the map was an item you could get in dungeons, but so was another item called the compass. And they were 2 different objects. And the map is, well, what the map would do is, again, would show you kind of the layout of a dungeon. But that is all it would do. It would pretty much just show, like, hey, there's a door there, you know, this is the layout of the area, and that's it. But nowadays, in Skyward Sword, they actually did what I would say is a really good upgrade, or really nice. They combined both the map and the compass together in one item. So it's a lot nicer to only have to worry about getting one of those chests to know all that stuff. Because getting the map and compass early in a dungeon is always nice, so you can make sure you're grabbing all the chests on the way, so you don't miss anything invaluable or just anything that you don't really want to have to track back for, right? Because you don't want to get through half the dungeon and have to run back through half of it just to get like one item you missed. In here, we have a Skulltula, and this time it's actually a little bit more of an open fight. As you can see, we actually have a little bit of a terrain here. Let's see if I can get a stab on. There we go. And you want to be careful when you stab if it's going to fling back at you, because it actually can do damage when it comes back. So, object in motion stays in motion, all that. You want to be careful. Here we have 2 more eyes, as you can see here. Again, Fee's going to try to help you here, but I'm just going to kind of show you. It's pretty much the same solution, except you have to be in the spot where both of them can see you to confuse them both. And that will kill them both. And there they go. And what do we got in this one? You got a small key. This key will open a locked door. You can only use it in this area. Small keys are an item you're going to be seeing a lot throughout the game, in dungeons, and as it says, they unlock doors, and that's pretty much all they do. You can use them only in the dungeon you find them, and you're going to need them. Again, this is another reason we won't miss out on the chests, because it's not just like money you're missing out on. You actually straight up won't be able to progress sometimes if you're missing a gold key. I'm thinking of Terraria. If you can't find a key just in general, then you may not be able to progress at certain times. We've explored all this area back here. Again, if we open the map, we can see any chest you get turn to like this brownish color. Any chest you have not collected are still the blue, so you can see we're still missing 3 chests. This is the first dungeon. It's quite small, but it is still quite a difficult one in terms of the puzzles if you're, again, not used to this sort of stuff. But it's a nice way to get your feet wet and kind of feel what Zelda as a series is kind of like. And it seems like we made it to the actual main room here. We have quite a bit of open space to start checking out. And there's a big red shiny button, so of course that's the first thing I want to interact with. Shoot that. And what opens is what's below it. Let's head in here, see what we can find. Oh baby, our first mini-boss. Mini-bosses are a lot of a common thing in Zelda. They appear in dungeons. And they're essentially fights that will take place halfway through the dungeon. Generally, they're a little bit more tougher than your normal average fight. And this one is a Stalfos. It's a giant skeleton-looking guy. As you can see, he wields 2 swords. The main fighting thing is he will switch his stance, and that's going to change how you have to actually fight him. As you can see there, if you miss a lot or if you take too long to hit him, that'll give him a chance to fight back and actually swing at you, and if you do that, you can deflect with your shield, or you can just backflip to get out of there safely. I tried to go for the deflect, but our shield took some damage, but it's not that big of a deal. It's only a little bit. And we have a potion for that if we really need to. Not a very tough fight in terms of some stuff you get into later, but it is probably the hardest fight you've gotten into up to this point. Let's see what killing him, or slaying him, I should say, has to offer for us. You got the Beetle. An unexplained power contained within this insect-shaped item allows you to control it as it flies through the air. Point the cursor where you want it to go and press ZR to send it soaring. Yep, so we actually get another item, not just the slingshot. And this is something that's pretty common in Zelda games in general, but just in dungeons, is finding what's known as a dungeon item. You've acquired a new item. Analyzes object insect-like profile and wings indicate it can fly. After launching it, you can remotely pilot the device. The sharp structure on the front of the device can sever threads and deliver a blow to smaller objects. Press CR to ready the device for takeoff, and press right on the directional pad to learn more about this operation. Yep, so now we actually have a dungeon item. And as I was mentioning, this is something you're pretty much going to find in almost all dungeons, is an item that helps you complete said dungeon. So you get even more rewards and items to your arsenal to help make traversing the land and just areas of the game a little bit easier. In this case, we have the Beetle. As you can see, you can aim it around. And as she said, when you press ZR, you can launch it, and you actually get to pilot it with motion controls. Again, this can be a little bit annoying and finicky, but it actually lets us do things like snap through cobwebs like that. It allows us to do things like hit that switch again, because, for example, we're still locked in here. We have to actually unlock the door again, so it's nice of them to lock the item we need to actually get out of here with the prisoner, so that was nice. I'm glad they didn't just leave us in there with no way out. Coming back out here, now we actually are pretty much set free with where we want to go. There's a lot of options. As you can see, there's quite a few enemies. And something I want to do... Actually, I want to grab that first. Thank you. Something I'm going to want to do in a moment is actually cut down that Skulltula from that string using the beetle, which is something you can do. Mostly because I want to try fighting him in the only other way you really can, because I've shown how generally they're just stuck to walls and stuff, and they're pretty easy to fight when they're like that, because all you need to do is get behind them, and then they're really weak, and it's not that hard. But if we are to drop one down, as you can see, it actually will get up, and after a little bit, it will get up and you have to fight it normally. But as you can see, you can just take them on pretty easily like that if you, I guess, don't like them being where they're at. If they annoy you, I suppose. The only thing to note about the beetle is you can cancel it at any time I'm pressing B if you want to return. So for example, right now I'm going to press B after I hit that, and it'll come back to me, although I may not need to. There's the fairy I was talking about, maybe worth grabbing. In fact, I may actually use this on the shield, even though it took a little bit of damage, because, one, they're fairly cheap later on, but also because I want to... Actually, I may just try to get the bug net. There we go. You caught a fairy. This playful spirit replenishes 6 of your hearts. If you put it in a bottle and keep it with you, it will come to your aid automatically if you run out of hearts. Yep. A very nice thing to have, and it's pretty much a better version of the potion, at least comparatively to the one we can get now. Heals more hearts, and it revives you after death. Pretty good deal, if you ask me. Okay. As I'm saying, you can press B anytime to cancel it. If it does run into too many walls, it'll cancel automatically, so you do have to actually have a little bit of aim with it, and a little bit of control over it. As you can see here, like this tight little corridor here, and if you can do so properly, you can be rewarded. So in this little tunnel, for example, you're seeing there's a bunch of money for us to get, and then there's a bunch of mushrooms we really can't get across effectively. And as you can see, it makes a little, like a, what's it called, like an R2-D2, like, scream, and it, yeah, it comes back to you after that. Have more enemies over here to take out first before we can pilot our beetle again, because we don't want to just leave Link out in a vulnerable position while we're doing that, because he actually can take damage in that state. Since, keep in mind, just because we're controlling the beetle doesn't mean we're not, like, actually just standing still, because technically Link's just standing there on the map. So he can get hit if you are not careful, if you're not in a good position. So you also want to be careful about that. As we head back in here, I'm actually going to kind of switch topics. Also, that's an Ember Relic. That's nice. That's 2 Ember Relics. That's really nice. I'm going to switch topics up a little bit because I want to mention just kind of some stuff that I've been doing in my life, just kind of for fun, I think, to kind of separate the game, since right now we're not really doing anything super fun in terms of worth talking about or anything we can mention. And that's the fact that I want to talk about kind of some, just, gaming-related stuff I've done. Also, there's an item in there we kind of want, as you can see. It's like that, I know this is kind of weird considering the content I've done on my channel is like very, it's like Animal Crossing, Mario Kart, like pretty chillaxed, or, calming games and stuff like that. It's just, a specific genre, if you will, of stuff I talk about. But actually, one of my, well, not favorite, but definitely a series I really enjoy, and one that I definitely am glad is finally getting a remake, is that of Silent Hill, which is a horror series, for those who don't know, a horror-like franchise of games. So, again, a little bit different from Animal Crossing and stuff, but that being said, it's one that had a, demo come out, called, I think it was, The Short Message, and I played that yesterday, and it was, kind of surreal to be playing a game that has the Silent Hill name, because for those who don't know, Silent Hill was, in mine and a lot of people's opinion, pretty much dying, if not already dead, recently. Just due to a lot of stuff that happened with it in its past, and so we didn't know if we'd ever get another game kind of in the series to begin with, but yeah, we finally did, and I'm happy about it, and I definitely can't wait for that remake. But talking about something else that actually is a little bit more, I guess, something else that kind of matches actually the content I would normally do, is another remake that's come out this year. In fact, there's actually 2 more remakes for games already announced this year that I'm very excited for. The other one is Metal Gear Solid 3, which is Snake Eater. That's my favorite of the Metal Gear series. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And the one I'm looking forward to, one of my favorite games of all time, and one of my favorite games from my childhood too, is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. That's also getting a remake, and I cannot wait. You can bet I'm going to be talking about that stuff on this channel. If we go up here, there is another switch all the way up there. As you can see, the beetle flashing red's because it can't get too far away from Link, otherwise it will just cancel out, so you do have to be careful with that as well. But we just barely hit that switch, allowing us to get this piece of heart. We got a piece of heart. Collect 4 to increase heart capacity by 1. Just 1 more to go. Yep, and then we can get another heart. So that is nice. but not necessarily something we, you know, will help us progress much. But it is nice to grab that. Again, that's a little bit more of probably the most obscure item actually in this dungeon, because you have to go out of your way for it a little bit more. And you just may not think to go over where it's at. Anyway, enough of that stuff. Let's talk about the dungeon we're in, because that's kind of the current thing we're in. Skull up there, nothing really can do. Let's go in this room here. And if we look at the map, correct me if I'm wrong, we're on the far west of the dungeon. Okay, that just locked. I suck with pressing plus. Yep. So as you can see, we're over here near this chest, and presumably that's what's, yep, being hidden by these three. Oh, frick, that's a Skulltula that just actually fell from the ceiling on us, and this is a normal fight with one. They are armored. Oh, if they get too close, yep. Or if you get too close to them, they'll crawl on you like that and start sucking the life out of you. If you fling them up using both your Joy-Con like that, you can very easily take them out. They are not that tough, but if they catch you off guard, they can be quite tough. If we go over to these switches, you can see we can get the attention of two, but we actually can't get the attention of that one up there. Presumably because we're simply not tall enough. And I could make a joke about being short, but I really don't think that's necessary. Look up there, you can see there's the cobweb, presumably the guy was hanging off of, and over here we have a box that we can cut down. That's an iron-looking box. That thing is really heavy. This will allow us to push it, and you can probably see where this is going, but we should be able to grab this and pull this, even though it's, again, giant metal box. I feel like pulling it would kind of, you know, be hard, but this is Link. It's not too difficult for him. This will allow us to push it. As long as we can find the right spot, we should be able to get into an area where both of them can see us. Probably one over one more, I'm guessing. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty well lined up. Then we'll push it a little bit more forward, and let's see. Yep, and we got all their attention. Pull out our sword, and do the... Oh, didn't mean to reset the pointer there. Oop, nope. Kind of have to do it a little bit slower, because if you do it too fast, then you're going to start swinging the sword. And there we go. Again, not too difficult of a dungeon so far, but again, gets your toes wet and helps you figure out some of the game's mechanics, so it's nice. Got a small key. So that's another one, because keep in mind, we did use the one we just got previously to actually get over into this area. So now we have another small key, and we did see a locked door in the previous section. Here, we actually can't get up there, but we have a little creature that can. Again, kind of easy in these dungeons to figure out if you're going to need to do something. It's more likely than not going to be the new item you get that effectively will be the way you actually get back over there. Because we can't take the way we actually got in here, because I don't know if you remember, we actually had a drop down right there. We can't get back up there from where we're at, so we have to hit that. So the water level raises, allowing us to get over here and actually start making our way back to the normal house. There is another Skulltula here. I really recommend just rolling through it unless you want to have to deal with that. No real reason to fight him. It's just kind of annoying and a waste of our time, because we can just roll through and gather it fairly effectively. Cut this down a little bit. There we go. Roll through, and we're out of there. So we're only missing 2 more chests, I believe. Minus, not plus. Yep, and as you can see, there's like 2 different ways to go. And this way is locked by a grate, but we can actually see in there. It's apparently, according to the map, which I don't know if it's actually marked on this old map that Zelda, like Zelda's face is here, but no, it's Zelda's aura. Okay, so the map doesn't, it's not supposed to show that. Fee, I guess, marked that for us, which is nice, but it'd be kind of weird if like this 80-year-old map had just Zelda on it, right? Like they predicted it. But then again, I guess they had the tablet that said, you know, you were descended from the sky, you know, take this, use your person as a guide or whatever to help you. But yeah, so there you actually can, and I did this earlier too when I was kind of talking about the remakes of the games and stuff. You can actually take out the Deku Babas that are hanging, just in general. Well, not just, they don't be hanging, but you can take them all on the ground too. With the beetle by cutting off the vine or their stem that leads them to, you know, presumably where they're getting their nutrients or whatever. Which is a very easy way to take them out. And there you kind of have to, because otherwise they'll take you, okay, like kind of, not take you off. They'll, well, they do take me off, but that's not what I mean. They will, what the frick was that, Link? They will hit you off the rope, as I'm trying to say. You only have to hit the 3 down the middle, the other 2 you can dodge, as you can see. Here we have another enemy, which, do you say the name? Staldra. Yep, snake-like monster. I'll actually talk about it. Staldra is the name. And as you can see there, he actually does give you a number of how many of an enemy you killed, which is kind of cool. Kind of get that more as we go. So this is a enemy that you can see if you kill or take out its heads. Then it will grow them back. But if you take out all three, that stays dead. By reference to, you know, the Hydra. Hence why it's called Staldra. So, you know, teehee. As soon as you figure out that that's how you take it out, it's really an easy thing to fight. They're just more so a hindrance up until then. And again, since you can take out each of their heads at one attempt, you just have to match when they're all lined up and swing at the right time. Here, see if I can get him to... There we go. Oh, I was hoping I could push him off. I don't know how you haven't fallen off, but okay. Just... Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't want to fall down there with him. I was hoping I could just push him off, though, on the first go of it. Here, I'm going to use the beetle, and that'll just launch him into the void as well. Easy way to get rid of them. Jump over here, and here we can also hit this switch. This is one you don't have to hit. Again, it's just another way of getting around a little bit easier, so we don't have to go through that kind of way we just took to get back in here if we want to. Now we can head back, especially if we miss that piece of heart and stuff. Now you can go back and do that. And now if we go over here, you can see there's a very different type of chest there that we can't get to due to it being locked, like the area it's at. And over here you have yet another tightrope with a bokoblin at the end of it. So we're going to do what I did earlier and what I kind of recommended earlier, which is... as you can see, you actually go back, but he calls in somebody to actually get him to, like, come and do a pincer on you. This can be kind of difficult and terrifying if you're not used to it at this point. What I recommend doing is falling off the side and start trying to shake it because you actually can push them off if you time it correctly. I am going to want to make sure I get a little bit closer. Don't hit me, please. Okay, you hit me. You can get on the sides, though. If you time it right and shake it, and then they'll fall off and you keep going. Unfortunately, I failed at it. So here's another strategy. That's actually, in some ways, a little bit easier, in my mind, if you already know this is going to happen. You can fly the beetle, as you can see, he gets scared. Just smack him, and that will aggro him. Start coming over at us immediately, instead of him launching his horns. You can then launch the beetle again, hit him in the crotch, and there he goes, he falls to his death. An even easier way to solve that problem if you died like I did. Or not died, but if you lost a heart from falling in there. Again, falling in there is an insta-death. Thankfully, you just lose one heart, which isn't great, but... you could have just gotten an insta-game over or something, so it could have been a worse punishment. Very big door. This is the one that has Zelda's aura behind it. If he wants to tell us something, I may let her tell it in a second, but over here to the left we have 20 rupees. As you can see, 399 is past our max by 39. This is another reason why I strongly recommend going back and getting the wallet upgrade, because then you can hold more money, especially from enemies and stuff, and it's just nice. Sorry about that. I'm stretching in my chair because I'm old. I detect Zelda's aura. There's a high probability that she's beyond this large door. Yep, that's why she marked it. Here you have a spot to save, in case you need to. A few hearts in here. And as you may have noticed, unless it dropped from enemies or a few spots like that with hearts, hearts are, again, as I mentioned, a little bit more scarce in Skyward Sword comparatively to some of the other Zelda series. So you will want to be careful. Here we have a rope tied to this fern here. Wait for it to stop swinging back and forth for a second before we run. There we go. And now we have to try to stop our momentum, and now have our momentum go this way, shift it over here, so we can time it right, jump off, and now we can head up this way. And there we go. Now that we're over here, you can kind of see where this is going. We have two more spots where we need to... Oh, yeah, the bug nut's going to help me out a lot. Shoot these down. Oop. Eh. Oop. Eh. Oop. Eh. I got it. I got it. There we go. My aim is terrible, I'm sorry. But here, it's actually something that is a little bit more difficult in terms of, like... I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a little bit something I find harder, and actually something I mess up on a lot, is this part, is trying to target that... yep, like that. That other vine. And, because you have to go swing from one to another, which is actually a pretty difficult thing to do, in my mind. But what I'm actually going to try to do is stop momentum, which you can do by pressing B. I actually didn't really talk about that, but you can see the button in the top right. It says stop. We're going to go a little bit further down on it so we can get a little bit further. Because, of course, you know, further down, it's just... Oh, I missed it! A little bit further down. It's a little bit easier to reach it, even though I just am bad at the game. Probably should have gotten a bit more momentum. I think I was a little overeager to get over there, which is my fault. Let's stop our swinging again. And we'll start going down. Retrace again. I am curious what you guys... I was actually going to talk about this, I think, last episode, but there was just a lot going on since I was trying to get to the dungeon in that episode, so it was a pretty long one. What you think about the length of these? I'm trying to keep them a little shorter. Some of the things like this one, this dungeon is going to be around like probably 35 minutes to 40. But generally I'm going to try to keep them around 25-ish at most if I can. And I'm curious if you guys think that's okay or not. If you're willing to share, it would mean a lot to me. Just because I'm still very new to this stuff. And, you know, I feel like having that information will help me make this hopefully a little bit more enjoyable for you guys. Make it to this very special and ornate chest. You got the golden carving. This strangely shaped gold sculpture is covered in mysterious patterns. Looks like some creation in Minecraft or something. But that is actually our way of opening that door. It's like a boss key, pretty much, which is an item that appears in Zelda games, but in this one, of course, it's called something different. As you can see, we got all the chests in the area, so there's nothing we missed that we need to check out there. And so, we're just going to do the tightrope once more. Head over to that door. Since there's a statue right there, of course, if you did somehow get low on, like, you know, your hearts and stuff, and you want to make sure you get your refill on potions, now is your chance to do so. You want to make sure you use that statue, go outside. It will suck to have to go through all this, but as I said, we opened up little pathways to make it easier. Shortcuts so you can kind of get around just a little bit quicker, so. Hopefully, if you did, you know, want to go back, you don't take that much more time to get here. Here, we actually have to, because again, it's all about the immersion, put in the key ourselves. You hold down A to actually maneuver it around and use the gyro to kind of get it in the spot you want. And once you get it in the right location, you can see it starts glowing gold, and you press A to push it in. Look who it is. I thought that tornado I stirred up would have tossed you and torn you apart, yet here you are, not in pieces. Not that your life or death has any consequence. It's just that girl that matters now, and I can sense her here just beyond this door. Yes, we plucked her majesty from her perch in the clouds, and now she's ours. Oh, but listen to me. I'm being positively uncivil. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the demon lord who presides over this land you look down upon. This world you call the surface. You may call me Girahim. In truth, I very much prefer to be indulged with my full title, Lord Girahim, but I'm not fussy. Did you really just draw your sword? Foolish boy. But all rights. The girl should have fallen into our hands already. She was nearly ours when that loathsome servant of the goddess snatched her away. Do you have any idea how that made me feel inside? Furious! Outraged! Sick with anger! This turn of events has left me with a strong appetite for bloodshed. Still, hardly seems fair being in my position to take all my anger out on you, which is why I promise up front not to murder you. No, I'll just beat you within an inch of your life. The cause of the tornado that made us get here, Demon Lord Girahim. He is the first boss we're going to be taking out, and as you can see, he is quite the cocky one. Coming at us with nothing but his fingers to try to attack us, because if he is to, hit him with his hand, he'll actually stop your sword with nothing but his fingers. You'll want to swing your Joy-Con if he catches it to actually get loose of his grip. What you want to do is get him to start following your sword with his fingers, which you can see he'll do here, and you'll then want to slash your sword in the opposite direction. That's your chance to then do a bit more damage. Once you figure that out, he is kind of a joke of a boss, to be honest with you. As you can see here, all he'll do is pretty much just try to counter your attacks. He won't actually just outright attack you. That's how cocky he is. So pretty much all you want to do is after you counter him, use that spin attack. Phase 2, and he finally realizes we're actually worth maybe trying to put up somewhat of a fight, as he finally got himself a sword. And here, he's got quite a few different moves. This is him trying to do a charge at us. You can counter that with your shield, or you can just jump out of its range. Depends on what you want to do. We're going to try to counter it if he comes again. There we go. And if you counter it, that gives you quite the big opening to do a lot of damage. You spin attacks, again, those are worth 2. There we go. The timing is pretty much letting him come right up to you, and then you want to actually swing the shield. That is a bunch of little knives. You can see that went to the ground. He'll launch at you. And those are essentially things that you can deflect back at him, depending on the pattern he launches at you. There's a lot of moves here, so I'm trying to describe them the best I can. So, for example, here if I do a spin attack or just a right slash, send them right back at him to stun him for a few seconds. And then here, he'll teleport near us, and we'll do some little launch prep up of an attack. If you can react to it fast enough and hit in the right direction, you can very easily get him out of there and really not take any damage. React to him again. Again, for a first boss, this one's actually quite tough, and one that I struggled with my first playthrough. So if you find him to be troubling, don't worry. The first phase is kind of something that actually may lull you into a false sense of security. He has a lot of health, and this second phase actually is quite tough. But not tough enough for us. Well, you put up more of a fight than I would have thought possible out of such a soft boy. But don't clap for yourself quite yet. That sword of yours is the only reason you still live. I fear I spent far too long teasing and toying with you. The girl's presence has all but faded from this place, which means there's no reason to linger here. Goodbye, Skychild. Run and play this time. Get in my way again, though, and you're dead. Even with that threat, the victory is ours this time. And every time you beat a boss in a dungeon, we're greeted with this. Seems like we finally know the cause of why Zelda came down here. It seems like he's the one who created that tornado that sucked her and us away that day. Collecting this object, again, this will spawn every time you defeat a boss in a dungeon. You got a heart container. Your life is increased by 1, is also now fully replenished. It is essentially like 4 pieces of hearts. You immediately get new hearts. You can see we got another one. Unless you're doing something where you want to have as minimal health as possible, there's no reason not to grab these. They're not out of your way at all. You have to go here for story anyway. Sorry, I just want to take a sec because this area is very nice. As you can see, there's a few goddess butterflies if you wish to collect them, should you have gotten the bug net by now. There's also some fairies here, should you have used a potion or something and now you have an empty bottle, you might as well put some item in it. So you can see that over here. Back here is a very easy to miss goddess cube. Like, very easy to miss. Like, to the point where I actually almost forgot about it even right now, even though I played the game and I literally have written down where I need to find these things and show them on camera. I almost forgot about it. That's how hidden it is. Thankfully, you can come back here anytime, so don't worry if you did miss this already, or, you know, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. There is a red rupee, which we will collect since it's just they're taunting us. We might as well. Because, again, I kind of just want to take in the calm of this area while we can. It's nice, you know? It's just got that nice music. We had a tough fight. And even though it was one that we prevailed this time, the threat did linger, and, you know, now we actually have a face to put all these evil actions we've endured so far onto, this Demon Lord guy. And he's definitely strong. But thankfully, again, he didn't realize that we were actually willing and able to put up a fight. We have a few birds. You can try to collect these as you will. Got both of them actually there. And so what I'm going to try to do before we progress, while the calm music is still playing, so we're going to walk back this way and see if we can get those birds that were here on this one to reappear. I don't know if we can or not. But if we can, that would be nice, because there's something I want to show. But if not, we can show it later. It doesn't have to be here. It's just... I saw one here. Yep, there. Specifically that bluebird there, we're going to try to catch. Specifically the blue. Any others would be nice if we can catch them as well. But we're mostly just going to be going for that blue one. So we're going to want to be patient and make sure that no other bird gets super close to us, since there are other bouncing around him. And they'll kind of set each other off if one gets too close and notices us. So let's just get as close as possible. Have our net right up to him. And swing. And if you catch a bluebird specifically, you got a bluebird feather. Very few small birds possess this sky blue plumage, making these feathers extremely rare. Yep, this is another material, and they can only be collected not from any other bird except for the blue ones. You can find them in certain minigames, as I already mentioned with the bamboo one, and in certain chests. But that is the only other way to get them normally. They are worth grabbing if you see one passing by. Might as well pick it up. If the night market man is seemingly to sell them, you're going to be making a lot of cash off them. They are nice to grab. We know what to do with this, based off the tablet from the sky. We made it this far. We got to the dungeon. But Zelda's not here. But a victory all the same. Master, I have a message written in the language of the gods of old. Allow me to translate for you. From the edge of time, I guide you, the one chosen to carry out the goddess's mission. The spirit maiden who descended from the clouds must travel to 2 sacred places to purify her body. You stand in one of these places, Skyview Spring. The other is known as the Earth Spring. The second spring is hidden away deep within the scorched earth of Eldin. The spirit maiden, ever mindful of the heavy task entrusted to her, has set out for the second sacred place. You got the ruby tablet. The weathered surface of this heavy stone tablet feels very old. Master, as I just translated, it would appear that Zelda purified herself in the waters of the spring. I calculate a 97% chance that she has already set out for Eldin, where another great spring exists. However, it is not clear what method of travel Zelda used to move from here to her next destination. My analysis suggests you should take the tablet to the altar in Skyloft. Doing so will likely open a new column of light on the surface, allowing you to ascend to a new area and continue your search for Zelda. Let's return to the sky once more before continuing our search. The bird statue outside can take us back up.